Live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday, May 28th, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice on your television and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio on your radio station. Glad you're in, everybody. Slick Rick's here. He's going to do some sports. Rick Delgado's got the news. Paul Nolan in the house got some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're in. Hope you had a good day. A busy Wednesday it was, I think, in the news. Lots to talk about. And, well, first of all, let me go around, as I always do. Slick, how are you?
I'm doing good, Big D.
How was your day?
Fantastic.
What's going on in sports tonight? Any big highlights, or got games tonight? What do we got?
We got games tonight for sure. We got NHL and NBA playoffs, so we got to get tuned into that. We got a little rodeo coming up tonight, and also, of course, men and women's sports has got its head once again in Congress as they're going to mull everything and make their decision. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, I have to report about that.
I can't believe you still have to report on that nonsense.
I can't believe I ever had to report on it, honestly, Paul. I'll tell you the truth.
Exactly.
All right, very good. We'll do that in sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. That's coming up. Rick Delgado's here. Delgado, I'm very sorry.
About what?
No, I mean, I'm just.
He woke up.
About what? Yeah, I'm up now. What?
I'm very sorry.
Is there something that happened in the breaking?
To be you today. You
Why?
And I guess slightly Paul too. I guess I'm sorry for Paul as well too. Aaron put this up. I'm sorry for both of you to have to start the show like this, but let me just get it out of the way.
All right.
There is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
I'm just sorry for the.
Oh, there was
both of
more
you.
than that, though.
I'm so sorry.
There was way more than that. I saw it.
But yeah, well, that's the only part.
That's the only part for you that matters.
That's the only part I wanted to get.
I think
to.
Damon just hung
way
you guys
more.
out to dry,
I mean,
literally.
so-
When did you become
How was your
Anderson
day?
Cooper?
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good. I wish you'd play more of that because he did have more to say on that.
Oh, he did.
Oh yeah,
A little bit.
Like
a little bit more.
expounding on how he killed himself, or
a little bit. Little
or
bit.
no? Well, what else was there?
A little bit.
Let's one more time, Aaron. Just
All
put
right,
that
one
up.
more
Just
time.
one more time. Let's
Just
get
this
a little-
part.
For the record.
Just for the record, a little clarification.
But there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that sounds.
Emphatic.
Thank you, Slick. I couldn't have chosen a better word. That's emphatic is a good word. Paul Nolan's here. How are you, Mr. Nolan?
I'm not
Wait,
talking to you.
wait. We're not done with that.
Okay, we're not done. Well, what do you? Go ahead. The floor is
Again,
yours.
you know what? Again, I throw it back to the first time we played the Maria with Patel and Bongino clip where they are telling you what you need to know. Simple as that. That's all they're telling you. They're not going to tell you more.
Yeah,
because
he killed
they
himself.
Can't tell you.
I mean,
I'm telling you, he killed himself. That sounds like
Right.
That's what you need to know.
Because
All you need to know.
Because
A lot
that's
of
what
gray area there.
Because that's what the file said.
Okay.
oh.
They're reading you what it said. Technically, are they lying? No. Of course not. Because they're reading you what you have to see. This is what happens with these types of people.
All right,
Paul
hit it.
knows this too.
Hit
You
us with
have to write. You have to actually ask the correct question with the right words to make sure that there is no wiggle room in terms of their answer.
Especially there's no pushback whatsoever
Right.
from Maria Bartiromo, whatever.
Or from Brett Baer. And it was amazing because watching that, because I was watching that before I came to the show tonight, is as he was talking and then they did some very quick cuts and then went to commercial. I'm like, there was more there that they are not sharing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was because
They didn't bear it all.
was because
Production.
and it was because he probably said stuff and they went back and were like, Brett, I need you to cut that part.
Yeah.
Very
Simple as
possible.
that.
I don't know
didn't tell
about
you
that much, but I did watch a lot of the Body Expert. People who watch these interviews, and it looks like they're lying according to the majority of them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean anything because this is the news we're getting. And once again, there are 3 tiers of justice, and it's a big club, and we ain't in it.
Right.
Here's a little extended version, I believe, on the Epstein clip. Let's listen to this.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to
Here it is.
withhold information from the American public ever. But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there,
There you go.
in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are
there you go.
diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give him on everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's not telling you you're getting that right now.
Well,
what he's telling
what
you.
is the second part about the files, getting those out and making sure people can understand it, have to do with the emphatic determination of he killed himself?
Because according to the files, that's what it says. And then asked about more about the Epstein stuff, he goes on to tell you, there's a lot here. I'm not going to get it out to you until I know. But whatever he said, you're not getting it yet.
Could we at least agree nobody with any modicum of good common sense believes he killed himself?
Yes.
With the several breaks in his neck, completely inconsistent with it hanging, the paper-thin sheets that almost would be impossible to, create a noose with, the cameras going out, the security leaving in the moment, the suicide watch being lifted hours before his suicide, the cellmate, former gangster, who already talked about all the people who came to visit and tried to push and call, and prod Epstein to get dirt on Trump. I don't know, man. The whole thing is such a crock. If nothing comes of this, it's over. There's no beating the deep state. There's no beating the intelligentsia who run the world. It's over. But I still think I'm going to stay hopeful, because what else do I got?
Yeah. I'm of the same.
Is it fair to say that there's no amount of anything, evidence, testimony, personal assurances from whoever said that would convince either one of you that he in fact did?
Not until Jeffrey Epstein comes out
show any
and
of the
says,
evidence, though.
Huh?
They won't release any of the evidence about the autopsy.
I'm just saying, is there? So there could be something that could convince you if it was evidence-based?
Yeah, but to me, all the evidence has already made it very clear that he definitely didn't kill himself. He was whacked.
Yeah. There's, you know what? It's the perfect storm of, oh my
coincidences.
goodness. Right. And then to add to that, who was overseeing it all? The cleanup guy, Bill Barr. Who's sitting there scratching his head. How could this possibly happen? I don't know, Bill Barr. You've been around a long time in D.C. You know how these things happen. You know how they work.
And the relationship Bill Barr and his father have with the Epstein family is unbelievably nepotistic.
Then you see that.
Listen, things aren't encrypted enough. Let's bring in Comey's daughter.
Right.
Are you kidding me with this? It's a crock.
To sit there and actually think that one of the highest profile prisoners they have ever in their midst, that these guards, whether they went on a walkabout through the Australian outback during that time, or they passed out from too much Benadryl, I don't know, and that the cameras magically just stopped working at that particular time. What about all the other cameras?
You think he really killed himself?
I just think you two are just haters.
Think about it.
I'm just shocked by it. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you this.
No, I'm just shocked. He was on the show before. He's been on. I don't know.
Yeah, but we didn't ask him about this. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that there are more than just the sets of cameras by the Epstein cell that exist?
Well, I don't know anything about it. What are you asking me for?
I'll answer that for you. Yes.
I ask you guys the question.
The place has many cameras.
Okay.
So why can't we see all the other footage
But you don't think
from
he's
those
seen them?
cameras? Hold on. Why can't we see all the other footage from those cameras leading up to that time and after that time of when Epstein killed himself?
Okay, good
wink,
question.
wink.
Put
Why?
that on the list for when Cash comes back on the show. We'll ask him that.
And he won't answer it
Okay.
because it's probably classified.
But you don't think he's even seen it?
He may have seen it by now.
Oh, so you just...
And he's just, thinking of a way he's got to cover it all.
I can tell you this.
While they do this, are they going after somebody bigger? But, my lips to God's ears. Hopefully they are, and they get whoever's responsible.
Okay, very good. Maybe that time Cash will say, all right, I was lying the whole time, and I got you. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, 9 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B.
You started this.
We'll do, I know, we'll do news with Paul Nolan. We'll do news with Rick Delgado, sports with Slick. So I ask you, chat, audience, again, what is the point of having these elections? What is the point of having these elections?
Are we talking about the great big bad bill?
No.
Are we talking?
We are now talking tonight about the breaking news that a federal court in the U.S. has just ruled that President Trump does not have the authority under the economic emergency legislation to impose global tariffs. U.S. court tonight blocks Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. A U.S. federal court on Wednesday night blocked President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs from going into effect, ruling that the president overstepped his authority by imposing across-the-board duties on imports from nations that sell more to the United States than they buy. The Manhattan-based Court of International Trade said the U.S. Constitution gives the U.S. Congress exclusive powers to regulate commerce with other countries that are not trumped, no pun intended, by the president's emergency powers to safeguard the U.S. economy. The lawsuit filed by the nonpartisan Liberty Justice Center on behalf of 5 small U.S. businesses that import goods from countries targeted by Trump's tariffs was the first major legal challenge to Trump tariffs. The companies, which range from a New York wine and spirits importer to a Virginia-based maker of educational kits and musical instruments, have said the tariffs will hurt their ability to do business. The lawsuit is one of 7 court challenges to Trump's tariff policies, along with challenges from 13 U.S. states and other groups of small businesses. So here we go again. The judicial tyranny continues. U.S. court tonight blocks Trump's ability to put the tariffs actually in place. And again, I just don't know where it ever ends. And I don't want to get to it right now, but Jonathan Turley has a piece today that I actually had on my radar even before this news broke tonight, how the Supreme Court justices have got to long last deal with this chronic, as he calls it, injunctivitis from these lower courts around this country, because it's out of control. And here we go again now tonight. What is the point of having a president elected by the people of the country if he can't do anything that a lower court, every court deems okay? And one of them says no, they go up. What is the point? Where are we going with this? We're getting to a point where there's nothing the president and the executive branch can do without 600 and some odd federal judges around and courts around saying, we're not really big fans of that one. Boom, stop it. I mean, how does the country operate like this?
It doesn't, because up until now, who knew that this court even existed? The Court of International Trade. I'd say no one.
All right, more on this breaking tonight. News, sports, all coming up live from Studio 6B.
Probably the out. Chat. Live in the chat. Blah. Trying not to sneeze. Rumblers. Howdy, Rumblers. Yes, I'm with Too Naughty and Frederick Leathers shaking our heads. John D. 6307. What? Oh. Slick is alive. He'll make noise soon.
What's that one, Slick?
Soon.
I'm doing sports next. What the hell else you want?
Oh my goodness! Somebody's crabby.
Don't make eye contact.
Doing sports next. What?
Slick, that Brittany Griner story that's going on and the absolute ridiculous reverse racism that's going against Caitlin Clark at this point is at a whole new level of psychotic.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the main sports. I got to dig in the underground. Yeah.
Well, that was headline sports all across mainstream media.
What do you call it? That chick from ESPN had to issue an apology.
She claimed that Ryan Clark claimed that, or she claimed that
somebody told her.
Brittany Griner will be the Michael Jordan of her era.
Yes, I heard
Michael
that.
Jordan.
Really, Michael Jordan?
The Independent has an article.
She's traded for the Merchant of Death.
Randy McCool says if Epstein is in witness protection, then they have to lie. Very true.
There's a lot of people saying he didn't kill himself, that all the BS, and he was scooped out. Who the heck knows? All I know is the one thing we all know for certain is the government always lies.
Yes. There's no way those things come together to the perfect storm of, the most high-profile guy decides to kill himself.
Man, I can't wait to write my intro to Cash when he comes on.
Me too.
Please welcome back to the show the blackmailable lion weasel.
Who said blackmail? That was you, not me.
You guys.
No.
The whole time I've been saying he's doing it because of an investigation. He can't reveal certain things. And let's face it.
I just don't know how we have him back on the show after.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
You too.
Let's face it. Whatever.
I'm not going there.
Fine.
Our live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday, May 28th, 17 past the hour. Glad you're in. We're going to do news with Delgado, news with Paul Nolan, Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. But right now, let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell. Remember, Mike Lindell is going to court. Big court case, I think, starts June 2nd out in Colorado. Lindell against... not schematic, but whatever it is. Smartmatic and all of these thief and weasel voting machine companies. And I know Mike's got a Give, Send, Go out there, too. You can go on his at Mike Lindell on X, and I'm sure find some of the videos he's putting out. But another way to support Mike, of course, is to go to MyPillow and shop there for Father's Day or anything else coming up. LFS6B is a promo code you could use at checkout. Give you a great savings. Slick's got sports. They sponsor it. What's going on, Slick's?
All right, Big D. Well, NHL action. Eastern Conference Final, Game 5. Florida leading that series 3-1. No score. Panthers and Hurricanes just underway. 2 minutes into the game there. Of course, big game for Carolina. If they want to extend this series at home, they'll be down 3 games to they'll actually lose the series tonight. So Florida can actually close it out on the road if they do pull it off. And, well, there's another game that could get closed out tonight, and that would be the Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. 8:30 p.m. tip-off coming up just in about 12 minutes. Game 5, OKC leading that series 3-1, as does the Indiana Pacers with their victory over the New York Knickerbockers last night. They also lead their series 3-1. So the Eastern Conference Finals are, well, the NBA Finals are not scheduled to start until June 5th, which would be next Thursday night, a week from tonight. So these series might wrap up a little early, and these fellows will get a little bit of a break. But I think the Knicks will make a good game of it in the Garden tomorrow night. We'll see what happens there with that big game in the Garden, Game 5 tomorrow night. To the baseball mound we go. No score, Reds and Royals, middle of the third. Orioles over the Cardinals, 3-2, bottom 4. Bottom first, Cubs, 1-0 over the Rockies. Blue Jays and Rangers, no score, bottom first. Finals from earlier today. Mets got walloped by the White Sox, 9-4. Guardians over the Dodgers, 7-4. Tigers nipped the Giants, 4-3. The Brewers over the Red Sox, 6-5. Rays blanked the Twins, 5-0. Astros, 5-3 over the Athletics. Pirates down the Diamondbacks, 10-1. Marlins over the Padres, 10-8. Yankees taking on the Angels. That's a first pitch at 9:38 out west. And then the Nationals are in Seattle taking on the Mariners, 9:40. First pitch a little bit later tonight. Republican West Virginia governor vows to continue fight to protect women's sports as trans athlete competes in girls' state championship. Catherine Hamilton of Breitbart Sports. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey pledged to continue fighting to protect women and girls' sports in response to a transgender identifying athlete competing in a girls' state championship. What else is new, right? Becky Pepper Jackson, a 13-year-old female freshman at Bridgeport Senior High School, who has been the subject of a Supreme Court case about their participation in girls' sports, finished in third place in the discus event and 8th in the shot put competition, Fox News Digital reported. Morrissey urged officials to keep separate scores so that the true winners can be awarded once we win in court. A boy is currently competing in girls' sports at the high school state track meet in West Virginia, Morrissey posted to social media. It's wrong and unfair. I'm again urging officials to keep separate scores so that true winners can be awarded once we win in court. We will not stop fighting to protect girls' sports, he added. So he wants to document the true winners of these games, which they could easily access those records anyway. But he's going on record as saying this is what he's pushing for. So that'd be very interesting if they're able to do that. So while West Virginia has a law keeping males out of women's and girls' sports, a federal appeals court blocked it last year, ruling that it cannot be applied against a middle school age boy. I like this one, who has been taking puberty blockers and identifying as a girl since third grade. So third grade, they're taking puberty blockers and identifying as a female. But it's got to be third grade. Second grade, no good. Fourth grade, no good. I mean, what the? I mean, who makes these things up?
Well, you know what's more disturbing is the parents who are doing this to their kid.
Without a doubt.
Wow, that's the truth. And I've seen it in the chat many a time.
What is that?
Right. If you raised your son to be a daughter, you failed as a parent. I've seen that in this chat a million times. And you know what? That's a T-shirt.
It's just absolutely sick. You're going to let a kid decide what gender he wants to be first, second, third, fifth, ninth grade?
Yeah.
Really? You sick babe.
Meanwhile, you still tell that kid when to go to bed, when to do their homework, what to eat
Put
for
the
breakfast,
phone
lunch,
down
and
at dinner.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
What you're allowed to and not to do. No, you can't drive that car. What are you, crazy? What do you think, you're an adult? No, you're not an adult. You're a child.
Right. You're not having ice cream for breakfast.
Exactly. You're not taking a gun to school.
You're not your kid's best friend. You are its parent.
Right.
Act like a parent.
That's right. And the Lenovo Center is rocking as Carolina draws first blood. They just scored the lead 1-0. And, man, they need this game if they want to extend their season. Beautiful 5-hole right there. I can't see who put that in, but that was a great goal. So that's a wrap in sports. Big D, back to you.
All right, Slick, we'll do some more sports later in the first hour, 22 past the hour. Real America's Voice, 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're all in. Let's do some headline news. And here with that is Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. EternalLifeCoin.com, all one word. Check them out online. Rick Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, the biggest news in the world is coming to you tonight. I promise. As Judge Janine...
we had that last night.
Yes, and it continues. It's a trend.
It's a new night.
So this is the top story in the world today?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Hit it.
For me, right now, this is Janine Piro taking the oath of office to serve as the interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. During an event in the Oval Office earlier today, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi administered the oath of office alongside President Donald Trump. Here is Judge Janine taking the oath as the interim D.C. Attorney. Cut number 4. Check this out. Cut 4. She's got her hand on the Bible. There's Paul's girlfriend.
Come on, no. She's out.
solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I take this obligation freely,
and that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
of
the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I am
There you
about
go.
to enter.
So there you have it.
So help me God.
The oath of office as Judge Janine is sworn in. Congratulations. She also said she needed to send a message to the people in the area. So let's go to cut number 6. Here she is sending a message of what she intends for D.C. and for the people of Washington, D.C. Cut 6. Check this out.
Today, Mr. President, you bring me back to my roots. And it is a larger arena but no less an arena where we need justice, where we need to send a message that justice will be honored in the District of Columbia. And just last week, here in our nation's capital, two people on the brink of beginning their life had hopes and dreams that were never realized because a cold-blooded murderer made a decision to shoot them down on the streets on a cold, rainy night in our nation's capital. This will not go without just accounting. My voice should be heard loud and clear. No more tolerance of hatred, no more mercy for criminals. Violence will be addressed directly with the appropriate punishment. And this city will again become a shining city on a hill in an America that President Trump has promised to make great again and will make safe again. Mr. President, America thanks you, and I thank you.
There you have it.
There you go. There's the judge. Let me paraphrase. I'm going to whoop ass down in D.C., and you better be aware of it.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
I heard that song before.
26 past the hour, live from studio. Now you guys don't like her either?
We didn't
I mean,
say
you
that.
two are unbelievable.
I've always had questions.
26 past the hour, live from
Oh, come on.
6B.
I like her.
I have.
We're back right after this. We have...
I've always had questions on Janine Piro. You know, that as soon as she was announced, I was like, go back to the tape, Damon. Go back to the tape.
Damon had questions. He asked her on a show one time, right?
Yeah.
He
That'll
interviewed
be the
her.
last time she's on here.
Yeah, great. You guys just shoot us in the
She's
foot.
not coming back because you
I wonder
bumped
why
her
we can't
twice.
get out of our own way.
Janine, don't listen. We can't bring you on tonight. We have Mike Lindell coming on for a 9-hour segment. We got
One question. 9 hours.
That's a vicious lie. Funny, but lie.
You can't be shaking your head for real.
What do you mean?
I'm just look. If
I
Dan
said that-
Bongino can disappoint, Cash Patel can disappoint. Let's be honest. Is it a time we just stop, just hoping?
Racing Banshee. Damon seems like he needs the night off. Get a clue.
Get a clue. He needed that
They just
night
don't
off
know
yesterday.
kidding.
Huh?
They don't know ball busting.
Oh my God.
They don't speak.
So
They don't
painful.
speak New York after 8 years of Trump, 12 years of
painful.
all these years of Trump just busting balls. That's how you grow up in New York.
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't know how to say anything other than good morning. Have you seen the paper? And go up yourself.
And we wouldn't do it if we didn't love the person that we were talking to, right? That's our way of showing love. We break their shoes.
Exactly right.
Isn't that the truth?
100%.
What do you say? If I don't make fun of you, I don't love you. Or something like that, right? If I don't, that was always
If, if your friends aren't giving you the business,
they don't care about you. They really don't.
You wonder, what's going on? What did I do?
Exactly. That's New York. It's a New York thing, I think, primarily. But I can't. I can only speak for New York. What the hell do I know? It's the only place I've lived. But that's how I feel. It's a New York thing. Come on. Boom. Incoming.
I love the after whistles,
Incoming.
the punch in the face there.
Incoming.
Like anybody else would be like, ow.
How about a hockey player? The guy loses his leg. He gets up. He skates off the ice. NBA player, forget it.
They did show some. There was some.
Ooh. What's going on out there?
Are they trying to knock this building down?
That'd be a good start.
I got a feeling it's going to go on its own.
Mike Jarman says it's a New York thing. See? Mike agrees. Thank you, Mike.
30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Wednesday night. 1039 LI News Radio on your radio, Long Island, New York. Glad you're all in, whether you're watching, listening, wherever you are. We appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at LFS6B.com. Make sure you head to liveFromStudio6B.com, the website. Sign up to be a member there. We were doing news. Well, I think we only got to what did we get to? One story?
One story.
All right, well, we'll do a little more, and then we'll do news with Paul Nolan right after this. But let's start again with the top headlines of the year here with Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, I don't know if you saw this.
What's story number 2?
Well, this one actually is a story from yesterday. I forgot to ask Aaron if we still had the clip from Sam Harris from yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Excuse me?
5A.
5A. Yes, of course we do, she says. Basically, it has to do with Sam Harris. Now, if you don't know who Sam Harris is, Damon.
Yes. I think I do, actually.
Okay, he's a podcaster, but also neuroscientist.
Yeah.
Who I guess showcases severe Trump derangement syndrome.
Yep.
And if you want to see some of that, here he is. Here's Sam Harris talking about, well, what he thinks is, of course, the best way to go when it comes to dealing with President Trump and what
if
we're
I
dealing
don't
with.
want to see some of it?
You really don't. This guy has gone completely lunatic.
Right.
I mean, he's lost his mind.
And that he actually believed that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack during his entire presidency. This from a neuroscientist. Cut number 5. Check out Sam Harris for yourself.
Yes, it's this separation between
this is Ben
the two parts of the job,
evil brother,
the decision making component of the job and the communication slash persuasion component of the job. Yes, the decision making component of the job is important, and I think as I said when I was talking to Jake, and as I said, I think some years before when we were all talking about Biden being compromised. It's at least intelligible to say, okay, he's not a good communicator. He was never a good communicator. He's only getting worse, right? You can't reliably stick him in front of a microphone and trust that something good is going to come out of his mouth. But the truth is that when you sit with him and deliberate about the war in Ukraine or anything else, he is compos mentis. He clearly understands
He's
the
so
issue
full of baloney.
Yeah, right.
as well as
This
he ever
guy-
did. He just doesn't.
Aaron,
he's just not a fluid.
He's
I
such
just can't. I can't.
He's such a boarding school BS artist, right?
Yeah.
He reminds me of the kid from Dead Poet Society who everybody picked on. Like he just does, he uses his BS catchphrases. He is as pompous as it gets. He's a buffoon and he's a disappointment because, he obviously an intelligent guy, but he is so completely deluded and so ready to die on his hill of BS, his mountain of BS. He keeps doubling down, tripling down.
Yeah.
And he's become a complete irrelevant, useless out there in the goofosphere.
But he's still something that the left leans on because he's a neuroscientist. He's an atheist. He's an intellectual by gum.
I love guys who have to describe things by making it so difficult for you to comprehend that the reason you
That's that boarding
the reason
school
Biden the reason you're missing that Biden was still intellectually there is because you're not smart enough to see
Right.
it. If you can't comprehend what I'm saying here and the way I'm trying to describe it with all these big words and thoughts and sentences, it's really you're the problem, not him.
Right.
This is what I'm supposed to take from that clip. Pull my hair out.
And this is to try to cover up for the fact that this guy who's supposedly so smart didn't realize that the president was suffering a mental collapse, and he would rather have as he says here later on in that clip, he would rather have a president in a coma where the duties of the presidency are executed by a committee of just normal people.
Oh, like a Politburo?
Right, a Politburo, or maybe some other elected officials that they could all trust, that they agree with.
Yeah, that's what they
in a
that's
coma,
what they
right?
would-
Just kind of still walking around, so not really the coma is like what we think of, but he's like in a walking coma.
And they were calling themselves the Politburo, according to Jake Tapeworm's book.
Yeah.
That's what they were calling themselves.
And then, of course, the cabal of unelected insiders basically using the power of the president for their whims and for what they wanted to accomplish, all in his name, so they could get away with it. Then, of course, we have what came out with Project Veritas. I don't know if you saw that, where they actually have David Hogg.
Yeah.
And another Democrat.
You would think Project Veritas at some point would run out of stupid people that they could honeypot into these videos.
No.
But it's just they never run out of people.
No, because there's so many stupid liberals in D.C. It's like a fountain of them. You just turn on a spigot and there comes more stupid.
And they can't stop talking because they have no life, and all they want to do is prove to the person they're sitting with that they're cool. Yes. Look at me, I'm cool.
And look how connected I am. And look at where I sit in the ivory tower. Exactly. Here's David Hogg on camera, along with another guy admitting who really ran the White House. Cut 3.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah. Off the record, of course.
Of course.
Foundational question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden? Well, the president of the United States.
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at that point. Like,
and who has a name?
I would avoid him.
Detarian.
He was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so like. I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
Yeah, and again, the power that they have was basically the presidency, because the guy who was supposed to be the president was basically let's face it, literally an empty suit. There really wasn't anything in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, you couple that with the people like Sam Harris's on the other side, and they're fine. They're fine with the empty suit because, but Trump is their answer, right? So that's where we're left.
But yet they put Hogg in that position for however many months he was there.
Yeah.
Before they decided he was too
much of a problem.
Whatever. Too much. He didn't meet the sexual. I don't know. Whatever the reason they got rid of him, he wasn't bi, trans, or they didn't give enough people a chance to be bi, trans, or something, and he shouldn't have got the role because they needed to interview more bi, trans. Wasn't that something like that?
Something like that.
He didn't fit the quota of whatever nonsense.
Well, also he was causing problems for the.
Yeah, he wanted to run against his own candidates.
He wanted to primary all
probably
the people.
Didn't help.
Right, which doesn't help.
James Carville had just about enough of him. That's probably the reason he's not there. It's probably because of Carville.
Yeah.
Not all this nonsense they made up. So, all right. Anything else right now, Rick?
Not right now. I'll gather more news from around the world. I'll let you know what it is.
38 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Paul Nolan's here. Let's do some of Mr. Nolan's news. What's caught his attention?
This is clearly the biggest story in the world.
Okay, let's hear it.
Brittany Griner.
He goes, that's good. Kash Patel goes off on Comey for Trump assassination post. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Kash Patel went off on Comey for that nonsense where he put 86-47 on the beach. He said if Comey was put in prison, the copycats would likely stop. Comey obviously peddled that BS story, and if you saw what Kash was pretty ticked off about it. I'd like Aaron, if you got that clip. I don't have the clip list in front of me, but I sent it in earlier.
That's James Comey.
If he wants to come after me, no problem. I've been living rent-free in that guy's head for years, and that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director?
Is that right?
Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists? Because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke and they can do it because he did it. That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
The 86-47, the president said that he believed it was an assassination message. On assassination attempts, I did ask the president on the Middle East trip about this. Is there frustration on your part? Will we get transparency? Will we know the bottom line story?
It's very interesting because we have great people. I think Pam is incredible. I think Cash is incredible. I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is. You know, we have deep-seated craziness in this country, and I'm relying on my people, and so far they're good. But so far and in this case it's Secret Service, they tell me it's fine. But it's a little hard to believe, to be honest.
I mean, you can't blame him there.
No.
I mean, he should be able to march into Cash's office and say, tell me what happened right now. And he should be able to get the story. And clearly he's not getting the story. And that's one heck of a job to try to pump up your people before essentially saying, they're not doing the job. Or at least not to the degree that I'd like right now.
Or I don't believe what they're telling me.
When you have to keep saying they're good people, but, and then look down at your shoes and stay silent, you're not that happy with it.
Exactly. I mean, this is clearly, you can see his disappointment as well.
Yeah. And especially, listening to Dan Bongino before he left to become the deputy director in the 2 weeks leading up to before he did his last show, he made it a point of saying it many times that this would be a very big part of what he's doing is to make sure that the president is safe. And the fact that you're hearing that type of call it what it is, doubt from the president about the people he's relying on to make sure that happens and that he gets the full story, it's a challenge. I think. Yeah. I think they're running into. What they've talked about is those deep embedded lifers that this is the way we do things and you'll do it the way we do it, as opposed to I'm the boss now, here's what I demand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
The Spectator tonight, just 10 minutes ago, has breaking news that Elon Musk has left the Trump administration in his current role. I don't know if that's true or not, but
we speculated this was coming, did we not? Well, he's got the infrastructure in place. Time to move on.
Well, yeah, I think if this ends up being true that he's decided tonight to leave, I think the interview he just did with somebody basically saying, I tried my best, but basically these Republicans have no backbone and basically not only looked a gift horse in the mouth, but basically took a dump right on top of it because they have no interest in codifying any of the Doge cuts. They want to fund all of the stuff that he found. The guy spent $200 million to help get elected. People voted more for Doge than they voted for an individual person in this election. The idea of Doge, the idea of getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, the idea of finding out all of this nonsense, exposing all of this, and now here we are, none of it wants to be dealt with, and now we hear there's a rescission package that's going to go maybe deal with some of it that represents 0.01% of the federal budget. What happened to the chainsaw on stage at CPAC? What happened to taking a chainsaw to this thing? 0.01 is going to be the rescission package? Doesn't surprise me that he says, you know what? I did my best, guys. Time to go back to work on cars and rockets. This is true. I don't see anybody else reporting it right now.
What is it?
Well, that he's officially decided tonight to leave his role.
I can't believe he would go out that way. I would imagine he would have to go out. He would go out way more dignity than that. But what do we, everything's moving so fast. I just can't believe how many rhinos are still in there.
Did you see the interview he gave? Essentially, it was like, listen,
the one at
I did my best, but
no, I didn't see the new one.
I forget who it was with. It was just the other day.
Over the weekend, I don't know if you follow Epic Times, but the chief editor there, burning out on his name, had a great interview with Victor David Hansen. That was worth watching. There was some good stuff over the weekend, but
remember you used to get Victor David Hansen on the show, Big D? How many years ago was that? That was 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
He used to come on, right? Once every
Yeah,
not
when we
every
were
week.
first on, we had him a couple times.
Yeah, then all of a sudden we lost him.
Well, he got big.
He did. I know. Fox picked him up.
He'd always been
He
on
was always
Fox.
on there.
Really?
He doesn't have a contract with them. He's can go wherever he wants.
Can you get him on or no?
Yeah.
Is there a fee or
No?
Should get him on. He was great. We had a couple of good ones way back when. We don't have as many guests anymore.
No, that's- he was.
He was great.
Boring liars.
He was great.
Here's a little bit of it. Aaron, give me a little sound here.
Chat.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
Yep,
Yeah,
I saw
spot
that.
on. It's disappointing. Really, so disappointing. Again, I'll give it time. We gave the sock puppet in chief a lot of time.
That's the truth.
Let's give it some time. What are you gonna do? I still believe Trump's intentions are good.
Oh, I don't think it has much to do with him.
Exactly.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. It does look like multiple places now reporting. Elon Musk officially departs the Trump administration after spearheading the Doge initiative. And, yeah, I would say he's probably leaving somewhat dejected on what is going on with this Congress and this party.
He gave his 2 weeks notice.
Not this president. I do not believe it would be with this president. I believe it would be with this Congress and the Republican Party as a whole. Basically, I mean, really, just shushing him away effectively.
Well, I did see something where Trump responded, or he was asked about, the big bloated bill, and said something to the effect, and here it is. I just found it. We have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support.
We said that today in the Oval Office.
We will be negotiating that bill. I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. The bill still has to go through the Senate and back through the House before it can be signed. It's got a way to go. But it's basically the horse trading, and I think that's the part that irritates people like us is there should not be horse trading. There should be what's best for the country overrules everything.
Or how about what you ran on? What people voted for? They didn't vote for the biggest debt ceiling hike in the history of the country by this party. No one voted for that. I know Stephen Miller's out there trying to whip around words and say about what's discretionary and not discretionary and the deficit, nods and raise the debt. I mean, come on. I mean, you don't need to be a Harvard mathematician to figure out what this does to the deficit. I mean, come on. You don't have to just look at the what they call the fake CBO, which probably is fake. But it's been more than just them. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I mean, the debt ceiling hike is the debt ceiling hike. The percentage of, what did we say? It's what, 1.6 trillion cut from a $90 trillion 10-year budget, whatever the number is. It's a $4 trillion debt ceiling hike, whatever it is. I mean, some of the things are not hard to comprehend, and you could try to spin it. But, I mean, now we found out the rescission package going next week represents 0.01% of the federal budget. I mean, I know you got to start somewhere. I get that. So, I mean, maybe we could all look at it that way and just say it's a starting point. And maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen after that. But it's hardly, I mean, you're being intellectually dishonest if you're jumping up and down with the pom-pom saying this is what you voted for. It's not.
Right.
It's just not. Anna Paulina Luna tonight. I'm fed up. We fought tooth and nail to get President Trump back in office, the best president of our lifetime, and Congress has no urgency, no backbone, no vision. We can't even lock in Doge spending cuts, an issue we've been complaining about for nearly a decade. It's embarrassing. We don't need any more grandstanding. We need results. Yeah, we need results. But, I mean, we shouldn't be accepting quote-unquote results as pushing through a $4 trillion tax hike. You going to call those results? I mean, $4 trillion debt ceiling hike, not tax hike.
Well, regardless, it's going to end up being a tax hike because at some point that bill's going to have to be paid. And it's going to be paid by all of us.
Especially now that we can't collect money on tariffs because of some judge.
Yeah, the court's ruled that we can't do that. That's right. Why is it a court never rules that the income? I don't know why. It's just
right. They can print money out of thin air every single day of the week.
Sure.
But
where's the courts then?
Right. Yes. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, got to take essentially. If I work 12 months out of the year, they get 6 months of it after all the taxes. You combine, all your property taxes, sales taxes, federal and state taxes. All right. A license to fish, a license for this, that, and the other thing. It's endless amounts of fees. It's probably, think about it. You work 12 months out of the year. You don't start getting paid until July.
It's just crazy. I do want to get to an hour two. Jonathan Turley's piece today. It's even more important. This was before any of this happened tonight, and it's even more important. The Supreme Court has got to take this up and take it up quick. And they've got to do something about this. I mean, there's no way they could sit back and think that this is acceptable, what's going on in the lower courts. I mean, when are they going to start putting these people back in their place and remind them of what their job is? And it's not to run the government. They were not elected by the people. This is supposed to be a representative republic. And where is our voice in all of this when you've got these just rogue courts and judges all over the country spread out in all these different liberal cities just saying, nope. That's
what the Soros plan was all along. Just bottom up destruction of liberty. This is why they spent gazillions of dollars getting these activist judges elected everywhere.
Hey, Paul, here's a question. You know more about this than any of us.
Athlete's foot?
Yes.
Okay.
He was a kicker in high school.
Right. Is this another step towards that other conspiracy theory, Gassara kind of thing?
I don't think so, honestly, at this point. I really don't. I'm just, my big concern is the debt hike, we're watching the implosion of the currency. It's just going to lead to one world digital currency, digital, cashless society, which is programmable, surveillable money. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm afraid that it's on its way and it's inevitable, and the dollar will collapse at this rate.
Well, we know where it's not going to happen, as I told you yesterday. That would be in the free state of Florida. As the governor yesterday signs a bill recognizing gold and silver as currency, as tender, as legal tender in the state. And every red state should follow that, as they should most of the things he does there. But they don't. But very, very important, to Paul's point, why things like that are important. Because if you want any financial sovereignty over your life in the next umpteen years, it's not going to be with the dollar and the government in every pocket of your everything. So that's a very important step he took. Good for him, by the way.
I mean, if every state had their own competing currency, the system would work, and it would stop the dollar from being so dishonest. The fact that the penny is so valueless that they can't even make it anymore is frightening.
That is frightening.
Just talk about, right now, our gas prices are the lowest technically since 2003. Because the dollar has been debased by 50% since 2003. It's crazy.
Someone said in the chat I just saw fly by that Utah has actually also done it. Patrick Ahern says Utah did it first. I did not know that. If they did, good for them. But every state should, at least every red state, should recognize gold and silver as legal tender, and Bitcoin as well, by the way. If you want to hedge against inflation, as I tell you, with our friends at Birch Gold, but gold, silver, Bitcoin, all of these things will hedge against inflation and hedge against an out-of-control government spending, printing, quantitative easing, which we're not even in quantitative easing right now. We're still in quantitative tightening. Wait till that comes back.
Wait till that comes
Which is
back.
going to at some point. The bond market's telling you that. And anybody telling you the bond market has it wrong, it's just run from them. The bond market never has it wrong.
Never. Not that this is financial advice. We're not financial advisors.
No, we're not. But no, they don't have it wrong. So, all right, 5 minutes. Well, no, it's not. Yeah, it's 5 minutes till the hour, but we don't have time for sports now. So we'll do sports when we get back. Plus, we'll do more news, and we'll get to Jonathan Turley's piece about the Supreme Court and when they're going to decide. And remember, wasn't it Victor Davis Hanson had a piece about a month ago and said, I don't give the Supreme Court much more time to have to figure this out. And it's probably been another month, and they still haven't figured it out. I don't remember what his time. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember the timetable.
I remember do you remember the piece though?
Yeah, I remember you talking.
Got to go back and see what the timetable was. Maybe it was a month, but here we are, and what we've seen tonight is just absolutely crazy. So we'll get to that. Lots to do in hour 2. Real America's Voice, 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in. Hour 2 coming up right after this.
Doesn't say he was traded.
No.
An hour ago, there's a story that says I've got to prove myself to the Dolphins after last year.
I haven't seen anything come across the wire.
Unless it came out right after that article in the AP, which would be kind of funny. Tyreek Hill, down 14 pounds, motivated to win back teammates.
Yeah. Off-season transformation, boosts
Hopes to
speed
rebound.
for 24, 3 hours ago, 7 hours ago. That might be fake news, Big D.
Maybe.
Or it just literally happened.
He literally asked, I know he was, there was some comment by him kind of intimating he was looking for a trade, but.
Well, then why is he in shape and says he wants to work with his teammates? He owes them.
He's speaking folk tongue.
Excuse me.
God bless.
There it is. Tyreek Hill trade. What did it say?
No, I don't see anything.
No.
Nothing yet, Big D.
No, it's not on Twitter.
Could be something early. No, if it's not on Twitter, then forget it.
Then it's, yeah.
That didn't happen. Without a doubt. Happens. Stuff comes so fast and furious. Everybody wants to be the first to market. Have it. There was a super chat that I think I missed, Big D. Can you go back and see the super chats in your?
I haven't seen even one come across.
I saw a yellow, and then when I clicked on it, it was gone. Like I clicked, and I saw a yellow look like a super chat. When I refreshed the screen.
If you go to YouTube, they should be somewhere at the top.
Oh, I don't see it. I'll look. More important things to look at now, but I'm just getting ready for sports. Yeah. I thought I saw a super chat earlier.
YouTube? The YouTubes. Oh, that's not it. I don't see any.
I don't know why they only gave you. I saw gold, and then it's gone. Vaped.
Anybody knows who possibly did that in the YouTube chat? Let us know.
I thought I saw a super chat earlier. I could be wrong, but it was a yellow.
Oh, there it is.
Gold color, right? There it is. That's
Larry Pitts,
Larry Pitts.
$9.99.
What do you got? I agree with Delgado. Well,
All right, hour 2, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday, May 28th. Glad you're in, everybody. 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice on your television. 103.9 LI News Radio on your radio, Long Island, New York. Glad you're in, everyone. On a Wednesday night, Slick's going to do some sports in hour 2. Lots going on there. A couple games going on. NHL, NBA playoffs well underway. He'll talk about that. Rick Delgado's here. He's going to give us some headlines here in a second. Paul Nolan's going to have some more news in hour 2. As a matter of fact, I think, Paul, we only got to about one of your stories. What do you want? What else is Aaron and Fran, of course, holding it down? What else is on your radar?
I don't know if you guys saw this, but CNN aired an interview with an Israeli hostage, and he said that the Hamas captors were terrified of Trump and wanted Kamala to be elected president instead. And the reaction by the CNN host I found somewhat interesting, but his name is Omer Shem Tov, one of Israel's hostages, was freed from the Hamas captivity, and he dropped a bombshell on CNN. Aaron, can you roll that one?
Very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted...
Who?
Terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped speeding on me.
So there you have it. I mean, obviously, I think Kamala would have been the exact same thing we saw with Biden. We would have seen a Politburo of, leftist lunatics and globalists making all the decisions for her. So, I think we got the exact same thing, would have the exact same thing. So, I know that we're not thrilled with some of the unraveling of the deep state. It's not happening fast enough for us, but there is some positives here. And I also believe if Kamala was in there, we we'd be already in a war with Russia at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that. But I also back on Kash Patel. He said on Wednesday he promised full transparency in the Bureau's investigation of the assassination attempt on President Trump. Trump survived the assassination, obviously, in Butler, PA. Multiple investigations and reviews of the shooting have been conducting, including a congressional probe, which was considered unclear its chain of command. The incident also brought heavy scrutiny to the Secret Service. Patel told Brett Baer, you're going to know everything we know, and he dismissed the conspiracy theories about foreign interference and attempts to sabotage Trump's presidential campaign. He said, we take assassination attempts, especially on the president of the United States, extremely serious, and we don't feel that the American people have been given the information they need on that. And we're digging through the files, and we're getting them a more robust picture of what happened and whether or not there were any connections. So I just figured I would get to those two here. So,
all right, very good. I did see, speaking of the Israeli thing, there was an article I saw, I think in the Jerusalem Post, that basically said that for all the talk about, you're hearing a lot of talk about, where is it here? Gaza Aid Organization accuses Hamas of preventing Gazans from receiving aid. And I think the story was in the Jerusalem Post. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an independent aid distributor, says Hamas is deliberately preventing Gazans from receiving humanitarian aid. That today in the Jerusalem Post. So if you're interested, because you hear, the narrative, of course, is that just the opposite, that Israel's the one preventing
off the water and
all kinds of stuff. So
and Trump did speak about that. He was asked about that today during his press conference at the White House, among other things. He said that no, they're doing everything they can to make sure that they're getting what they need.
You know what's the first?
Well, they are. Yeah.
The first casualty of war is what?
The truth.
You know, so we never know what's going to happen. That's the problem. Everyone's going to pump out their narratives. So Hamas is going to lie, and we just never know what's really going on there. So you just got to read as much as you can from as many angles as possible, and and hope to come to some sort of a reasonable conclusion. But just like to see this come to an end. I really hope Trump can, get everyone to chill out.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Donald Trump, here he is taking a question from reporters during the after the swearing in of Judge Janine Piro as the D.C. Attorney General, or the Attorney General for D.C. Here he is talking about what's going on between him and Netanyahu. Cut number 7. Check this out for yourself. This is cut number 7.
Back on Iran, did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question.
Next question. And that's where it can stop, Aaron. You don't have to go any further than that. As he confirmed, he told Netanyahu to back off, basically Israel to back off, because they are in the midst of trying to get a deal done. And you know about him. He's all about deals. If he can get a deal without bloodshed, he's going to go that way.
Yeah, commerce over chaos.
Right, exactly. Speaking of other news, you mentioned Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Well, seems like James Comey is a little nervous with the news that 3 things Deputy Director Dan Bongino mentioned are going to be opened up and reviewed. Bongino, the former Secret Service agent, NYPD officer, and conservative commentator, posted on X that he and FBI Director Kash Patel have decided to either reopen or push additional resources and investigative attention to the leak of the draft of the Supreme Court opinion overturning Roe v. Wade, the discovery of cocaine in the White House in 2023. We all know what family that was headed to. And, of course, the planting of the pipe bombs outside the DNC and RNC committee places out right there in D.C. shortly before the January 6th Capitol riot, according to the New York Post. This story coming from John Solomon's Just the News. Of course, the news of this got Jim Comey's pants, his tighty-whities in a bunch, as he went on and slammed Dan Bongino and Kash Patel after they announced that they would be reopening these investigations that I've just mentioned. Appearing on CNN, the 64-year-old former FBI director lashed out at the new deputy director and the director of the FBI. According to what we saw, Comey said, "It's a little confusing to me, honestly. I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go," and here he is taking his dig at Dan Bongino. "I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go from being a podcaster to deputy director of the FBI, leaving out, of course, all his years of law enforcement. I don't understand this tweet. I assume the investigation of the pipe bomb was found on January 6th was never closed, but, of course, they never answered any questions about it because nobody wanted to know about it." As to the other things, I thought the Supreme Court Marshal had investigated the leak of the draft opinion. I don't know where the FBI's role is there. Of course, all these things seem to be getting under the skin of one James Comey because, well, all this happened when he was the FBI director, and now people are asking questions. Why don't we know what happened? Who was arrested for the pipe bombs? They have video. They have cell phones. None of these questions were ever answered, and he's getting a little nervous, I think, is what we're seeing from this as he's making the rounds on the networks, pushing his crappy book, and of course trying to tear down anybody who could be looking into the work or the the cover-ups that he orchestrated as FBI director. So there you have it.
All right, 9 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some sports since we didn't do any in segment 4 the last hour. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slickster Scott Sports. What's going on, Slick?
All right, big deal. Let's get an update on those playoffs. East Conference final, big game tonight. Game 5, Florida leading the series 3-1. Hurricanes leading the game 2-0. Sebastian Aho with 2 goals, one at about 4 minutes, in with about 18 minutes through this first period. So 2-0. At the first intermission. Again, Hurricanes need that win to extend the series. Another team that needs to extend the series right now will be the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road in Oklahoma City. And right now in the Paycor Center, the Thunder up 23-9 with 58 seconds to go in the first quarter. That's the West Conference Final, Game 5, with OKC up 3-1. They may be looking to close that one out. I tell you, Oklahoma City looks good. They look like the odds-on favorite right now, although Indiana really showed up last night with that win over the Knicks, as I mentioned earlier, and I won't mention it anymore, I promise. We got to get to the rodeo, Big D. Let's get over to the rodeo here. We got the AG Expo Pro Rodeo wrapped up over the weekend on Sunday night at Watford City, North Dakota. Here we go. Bareback riding. Seth Hardwick took it with 87 points on Powder River Rodeo's two-buck chuck. We got steer wrestling. We had Trell Etbauer, 3.6 seconds. Good time there. Team roping, Dawson Graham and Dylan Graham, the brothers Graham, 5.3 seconds. Saddle bronc, John Thielen, 87 points on Powder River Rodeo's drink of choice. I'll take a bourbon. Thank you very much. Tie-down roping, Lee Silverstein, 8.9 seconds. Bower racing, Emily Pauly, 17.46. That's also a good time right there. Bull riding, Brody Nelson, 79 points on Powder River Rodeo's number 239K. The total payout on the rodeo, 132,918 buckaroos. And Charlie Woods adds to family legacy with first major junior golf win. Tiger's son dominates field of top AJGA talent to secure Team TaylorMade Invitational Championship. Ryan Morick of Fox News. The Woods family has added more hardware to the trophy case. Charlie Woods took home the Team TaylorMade Invitational title Wednesday at the String Song Resort Black Course in Bowling Green, Florida. Boy, that's a mouthful. For his first American Junior Golf Association Tour victory. Very good over there. So Woods' final round featured 8 birdies and 2 bogeys, and he closed with 4 straight pars. He won the event by 3 strokes ahead of 5th-ranked Luke Colton, Willie Gordon, and Philip Dunham. Woods opened the tournament with a first-round 70, but followed with a 65. Good score. Tuesday, he was competing in just his 5th AJGA event, and his previous best finish was a tie for 25th at the Junior Invitational at Sage Valley in March. Woods already has several wins on his resume, with his first coming in the 14-15-year-old category at the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour's major championship back in June of 2023. Later that year, he won the Last Chance Regional Golf Tournament. Last summer, he qualified to compete at the U.S. Junior Amateur, but failed to make the cut. We did talk about that. He recorded his first ever hole-in-one at the PNC Championship, where he teamed up with his father. His dad has 82 professional wins, with Sam Snead for the most ever. 15 of those victories have come in majors, and his last major win was an unforgettable 2019 major. Goes on to talk about Tiger, but you know what? That's a great story there for Junior, for Charlie, right? Big D with his first win there. He's on his way. I think he'll be a good golfer. I mean, nobody's going to be his father, but he'll get there. He's a young kid yet.
Well, we'll see if he can make the tour. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing. He didn't make it this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, but how old is he again?
Well, listen, you playing the Corn Ferry Tour, whatever it's called there. Nobody realizes how good these guys are. Even when you're playing those other tours, you got to be the elite of the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
So making the PGA Tour is...
Big D knows he used to hang out with Lee Trevino back in the day, right, Big D? Come on.
13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. More news coming up right after this.
It's a great story. That was enough.
But they weren't talking about before the show.
I agree. Anyway. What's going on in the YouTubes? YouTubes! TikTok Patriot. He says, I want so many people deported that I never have to press 1 for English again. That's a good one right there.
I like that one.
That's a racist
Come
comment.
on, that's good. That's a funny one.
I like that one.
Hey, I got cut off before reading the super chat from Larry Pitts, $9.99. Says, I agree with Delgado. Question everything. Yes, sir. Great super chat. Awesome. Probably the best one ever. Thank you. Best super chat ever.
Michael San LFS6B. Paul's out of chat today. Michael San LFS6B comes back with, he's got something on his mind. Paul, what's on your mind?
Hockey.
Yeah, that's my man. Yeah. You know what? He could give a puck about anything else. I said puck.
Man, you're really sticking it to me.
You are. That's the icing on the cake.
Nice. Look at this. Another chance right here.
Look out.
Oh, dangle.
I want to see this series get extended. Florida's probably going to win the whole thing. I don't know if Edmonton's going to be able to beat them.
I don't know, man. Edmonton's playing so
They
good
are.
Defensively, and their transition game is insane.
I'll be honest,
I'm going to... They're dismantling Ottinger, who's probably the best goalie in the world right now. It's incredible.
I'm going to root for Edmonton because pretty soon they're going to be in our state anyway, right?
I mean,
they're going to be another state.
I say we take Alberta and Saskatchewan, leave the rest behind.
Moose Jaw. Don't forget Moose Jaw, Paul. Don't leave that behind.
No, we can't.
Nope.
Or Red Deer.
Oh, of course.
Or Flin Flon.
Yeah, Flin Flon.
Manitoba. Boy, you can see I've read the back of a lot of hockey cards, Paul, in my day. Bunny LaRock coming in hot.
Yeah, I'll try to get a chat.
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Sound like the blues. Let me talk to you about our friends at Tax Network USA. Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. With over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizure, bank levies, wage garnishments, the IRS is applying pressure at levels we haven't seen in years. Increased administrative scrutiny means collections are moving fast. The good news, there's still time for Tax Network USA to help. Self-employed or a business owner? Even if your books are a mess, they've got you covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is completely free, and acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, and surprise levies before they escalate. So here's what you do. Call 1-800-905-8000, 1-800-905-8000, or visit tnusa.com, tnusa.com/RAV at the end, right there on your screen, tnusa.com/RAV. You may have missed April 15th, but you haven't run out of options. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. Well, let me talk to you about our friends at AMAC. You've played by the rules, you've worked hard, raised your family, stayed true to the country, and now you're watching the elites, the radicals, and the bureaucrats try to rip it all down, but you're not helpless, and you're definitely not alone. President Trump is back in the fight, slapping tariffs on China, draining the D.C. swamp, and putting faith and freedom front and center, but he needs backup, of course, from real Americans like you. That's where AMAC comes in. AMAC is the conservative organization for people 50 and over who are done with the left's agenda. And for just $16 a year, $16 for the year, you get the AMAC magazine, access to powerful money-saving discounts, and most importantly, you're part of a national movement that actually gets it. So go to amac.us/studio6b, amac.us/studio6b. Again, that's amac.us/studio6b, and join AMAC today. This is how you fight back, boldly, proudly, and of course, together. Go to amac.us/studio6b today and join our friends from AMAC if you haven't done so already. They are a great organization, and they do great work, and you can't even, the value of that deal is ridiculous. So amac.us/studio6b. All right, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night, Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Let's do some news. And here with the news is Rick Delgado, your headlines of the day, brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, there is so much going on, Damon, that I still haven't gotten to. But I'll get to this story, which, of course, has been percolating in the newsosphere for quite the last couple weeks as Trump administration's borders are the one we love the most. Tom Homan is back in the news. This time he is taunting Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat out of New York, in an interview Tuesday night over the arrest of Representative LaMonica McIver after the Immigration and Customs Enforcement protest. Of course, you might remember back when the protest happened a couple weeks ago, cut number 11. Here's AOC threatening one Tom Homan. Cut number 11, check this out.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman, on Representative or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Yeah, a problem, according to AOC.
That girl got it going on now.
Yeah, she did the finger pointing. She did the hair tossing.
Right.
She couldn't remember anybody else's name past the first one. She was on it.
It's truly astounding how bold she is with how stupid she is.
Well, that's why she's so bold, because she is stupid.
Yeah, she's the Dunning-Kruger effect, like completely incarnate.
You lay a finger.
Exactly.
Why? If they do something, if they break into this place and what they're untouchable?
Right. According to AOC.
I mean, what?
Yeah, well, that's what she was saying. Well, it appears that Mr. Homan is speaking back as, of course, he went on an interview, and here's what he had to say as he is now waiting for the consequences, he says. From AOC. Here's cut number 10 from Mr. Tom Homan. Check it out.
Well, remember, just a couple weeks ago, AOC went on social media saying if we put a finger on any of her co-workers, Congress people that were at our Newark facility, there'd be consequences. Well, guess what? We did it. I'm waiting on the consequences.
And continue to wait, he will, because she ain't going to do crap.
He's great.
Exactly. McIver was charged with felony assault, resisting arrest, and impeding law enforcement last week. The same prosecutor dropped the trespassing charge against Newark Mayor Ras Baraka from the same protest. McIver was joined by Representatives Rob Menendez, the son of the disgraced Menendez senator, and Bonnie Watson-Coleman from New Jersey as well for the May 9th protest at the ICE-run Delaney Hall facility in Newark. DHS officials said the lawmakers and Newark mayor disrupted the entry of a detainee transport bus and forced their way through the gate, placing the officers in harm's way. And, of course, I guess you would know the rest. Homan, I should say, sparred with Ocasio-Cortez in the media early in the month. And, of course, he did say he takes pleasure that he can live in her mind rent-free every day, but we know exactly what he's doing, what she's doing, he said. So there you have it. Tom Homan still waiting for those consequences there, AOC. We'll see what she comes up with. I doubt much of anything.
She's one of those people who gets on camera and starts to talk and then realizes that she has no idea what she's talking about, so she just says things like that.
Right.
Did you see her implode on that interview at the time? She was just talking like an authority on the Gaza-Israel situation, and the reporter asked her, "Can you expand on that?" She goes, "I don't know what I'm talking about."
That's what she said?
Something to that effect.
No,
I will find that clip and I will bring it on Friday night because it is fantastic.
Yes.
All right, what else, Delgado?
This one is, kind of a breaking news story as well, as Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested an illegal Mexican immigrant national in Wisconsin just last Thursday after he allegedly mailed a handwritten note to an ICE officer threatening to assassinate President Donald Trump.
Yeah, I saw this.
That's always...
Ramon Morales Reyes, they have to have three names, 54, entered the U.S. illegally on a minimum of 9 separate occasions between 1999 and 2005. His criminal record includes felony hit and run, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse, according to the Department of Homeland Security. He said he would self-deport after he shot the president in the head, according to his own words.
Lovely.
That's a charming fellow.
Yeah, sounds like a nice guy, someone you might invite to dinner if you're a Democrat. We are tired of this president messing with us Mexicans, he said. We have done more for this country than you white people. Okay.
Chris Van Hollen set up dinner with this guy yet?
I don't know, but I'm sure margaritas are going to be on the menu. You've been deporting my family, and I think it's time Donald Trump get what he has coming to him, according to the letter obtained by Fox Digital. Of course, he says, I will self-deport myself back to Mexico, but not before I use my 30-yard six to shoot your precious president.
Wow. I
will see him in one of his big tallies, because he doesn't know how to spell rallies. I guess he didn't go to school here. Thanks to our ICE officers, this illegal alien who threatened to assassinate the president is behind bars, according to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. And this threat comes not even a year after President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. So there you have it. Just more of the wackiness coming from the left, as we can see. What happens when you empower criminals to do criminal stuff.
26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. More to do. Paul Nolan with some news when we get back. Plus, we'll try to get to Jonathan Turley's article today. Even more appropriate given what happened tonight with this federal smackdown of Trump's tariffs from this 3-judge panel. By the way, one of the judges, I think Paul said, appointed by Trump. The other one appointed by Reagan. So we'll get to that as well, the makeup of that court. When we get back right after this.
Boy, it really looks like Carolina grew a pass since this
Well,
first couple of games. They just got muscled around, pushed around, picked on, bullied. Now they're starting to play like themselves now.
Yeah, but then they're going to go to Florida next game.
Where they just won?
Yeah, but
they just won that.
I understand. I'm just saying that Florida's just too good. Maybe they can get it to 7. I don't know.
Say Bob.
Yeah, he's good.
I love that name.
Oh.
Sounds like one of those 70s cop shows. You're a disgrace to the force, to Bobrovsky.
And Hutch. Bobrovsky and Hutch.
But even with a name like that, the guy probably cut out of granite. No?
He's a super cool guy, too.
Bobrovsky.
You run into anybody at the gym today, Delgado?
Bobrovsky. He was doing legs.
He was on the calf machine. Oh.
For like an hour. Do calves.
Yeah, I do. Did you guys see the story that, there's the evidence of the Ukrainian and Biden linked hit on Putin, which has sent Putin off? That's been on international news. Story too.
Got to stop promoting Friday night, Big D. We're live at Friday night, so it's already Wednesday night. You got to stop promoting that. Have you been promoting that?
No, we haven't even talked about it.
No.
No, but we have. I'm covering the breaking news of the world.
He's ordering pizza. I know it's not my. I'm part of the show, but I'm not. I'm not the host.
You don't make those decisions.
I don't make that kind of money.
Right.
Big D's like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
It's beyond our pay scale.
Exactly where I was going. Come on.
Oh, my goodness. What is going on?
Super chats are quiet tonight. Oh, super chat friends.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Zero Hedge said so.
Speak easy there, my friend.
So tariffs, which have already been spent on congressional grift and corruption, now have to be refunded. This will be glorious, they say. Court finds that these, is that part of the deal now? That this court smacking down the tariffs, now those are going to have to be refunded? Is that true?
I don't know. We're still waiting for the refunds of all the gold bars that they were tossing off the side of the Titanic during the last 76 days of the Biden administration to be recalled. Maybe when those come back, then we'll talk about the other stuff.
So, Paul, you were saying somebody, was it a viewer who sent in? I saw you tag somebody and said, hey, good find. So the makeup of this court, is that what those names were?
This is based on the viewer. Went to his page, seemed like a smart, reasonable guy. This story broke while we were here. I've had no time to look it up, so I don't know. I was going by his word. I wasn't sure if. But you said you read an article that said it was pretty. It was a
pretty definitive smackdown, yes, of the president's tariffs by this. I think it's a three-judge panel, I believe. And you said one of them was a Trump appointed.
And one was a Reagan appointed, according to, I can go back and find
one was a Reagan appointed.
Yeah.
Zero Hedge also says, Dear Federal Trade Court, does Scott Bessent have permission to plug the $250 billion tariff gap that you just created with this ruling with new treasuries, which will send the 10-year to 5% and cause another basis trade crisis? And those are all interesting ways, the way they're putting these tweets out, of bringing up some of the collateral damage from this ruling that possibly could become. I'm interested what the futures in the market think of this.
Yeah, well, they love uncertainty, those markets.
I would think they would love this, the idea of getting rid of the tariffs, because they haven't liked the idea of them anyways. But I don't know. There could be a lot of collateral damage from what we've already done with tariffs, I would think, as I think that's the point they're trying to get to here with these couple tweets. But, well, Paul, let's do the news first, and then I'll get to Jonathan Turley's piece, because I think his piece is right on the money, especially given what we've seen tonight from this court. So, but first, let's do the news with Paul Nolan. News is brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. What's going on, Paul?
So this was global news. I'm getting this from MSN. Ukraine tries to kill Putin by downing his chopper in massive drone blitz near war zone. Ukraine reportedly made a bold attempt to target President Vladimir Putin's helicopter with a drone strike as it flew over Russia's Kursk region last week, following reports Putin's proximity of the war front. General Yuri Dashkin revealed that numerous UAV attacks coincided with Putin's unusual visit near the combat zone. It was noted that Putin had visited the Kursk region on May 20th. Dashkin reported during that period, when President Putin was working in the Kursk region, the enemy launched an unprecedented attack with unmanned aerial vehicles. The air defense group in this area destroyed 46 aircraft of this type. So, with Kursk bordering Ukraine and some territory still controlled by Kyiv forces, Dashkin disclosed intense hostile drone activity in the Russian leader's flight. So, apparently, this is escalating things according to global news that I follow. And
so, who tried to take him out? Who's
Ukraine?
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine was trying to cut the head of the snake, so to speak. So, obviously. It's going to piss off the lunatic. So he's escalated on his side of it. And I don't know if you saw this.
President Trump made some really interesting comments today in the Oval Office about Putin and Russia today.
Boy, he's saber rattling a little. Sometimes I just think maybe silence is golden. If I was, to me, I've always tried to explain to my kids, if you're losing your temper, just be silent. You know, the power of silence. People don't know what you're thinking. So I don't know why he has. Sometimes he can say no comment. You know, sometimes he doesn't have to tweet. But what do I know? You know, he's
today he was asked direct questions about it, and his answers, boy, I tell you,
they're pointed.
He gave very specific, pointed answers about if it basically saying if he doesn't. I'm very disappointed in what he's done the last couple nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to know. Somebody said, do you think he's willing to make a deal? He said, well, I don't know, but I'll let you know in 2 weeks. He said, and if I continue to get basically I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if I continue to get the sense that he's not, we're going to start responding in a whole different way, he said. And then someone said, well, what does that mean? And he basically said, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and no one really wants to talk about the hard way. But he's openly saying these things. He is not happy with President Putin at all, and about what's going on. Here's actually the clip from today in the Oval Office. Roll that, Aaron.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe? Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, is doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. That I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now, where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So what respond
what a
a little
world he has inherited, huh?
Respond a little differently. What that means, I have no idea, but it doesn't sound like it could possibly be good between us and Russia.
Well, things aren't getting much better. I don't know if you saw this. Russia says Germany crossed the red line in arms supply to Ukraine. I don't know if you saw this, but they're sending long-range missiles. Russian ambassador to Germany, Sergei Nechayev, told state-owned media on Friday that Germany had crossed the line by providing arms to Ukraine. Supplying the Ukrainian regime with German weapons is not only against Russian servicemen, but also against Donbass civilians. It is certainly the red line which German authorities should not have crossed. The ambassador's comments come one day after German defense officials pledged weapons and equipment for Ukraine, and it faced a backlash at home and abroad for not doing more. So 2 multiple launch rocket systems known as Mars 2, 200 missiles, and 50 Dingo armored personal carriers will be sent to Ukraine. The Defense Department there has confirmed. Germany will also work to finalize a swap with fellow NATO member in Greece that will see Berlin and Athens Forta Marder infantry fighting vehicles as Greece deploys 40 of its BMP-1 infantry fighting vehicles in Ukraine. So, I mean, this is not getting better. And these long-range missiles that they're supplying are a direct threat to Moscow, and now Russia is saying that they will send bombs right into Berlin. They will bomb the daylights out of Berlin if they continue to go forward. And Russia has also offered a warning to the U.S. If you supply any more long-range missiles, that's also going to be considered crossing a red line. So we're, this is some world that this is as he said, this is Joe Biden's war. This is the Democrats' war. This is a neocon war. And let's be honest, Trump has really been weeding out the neocons in his cabinet. So, yet the media keeps lying about it. The media keeps saying things like Trump keeps ruining his cabinet with deep state, Republicans. Meanwhile, he's bringing in anti-war guys trying to negotiate. We'll see what happens. All I know is it's crazy right now. And that's about the extent of it. So that's all I got for news.
All right, 39 past the hour. Jonathan Turley today This week, the Supreme Court continued to deliberate over what to do with the growing number of national or universal injunctions that are being issued by federal district courts against the Trump administration. The Supreme Court has long failed to address the problem, and what I call chronic injunctivitis is now raging across the court system. Justices have only worsened the condition with conflicting and at times incomprehensible opinions. Both Democrat and Republican presidents have long argued that federal judges are out of control in issuing national injunctions that freeze the entire executive branch for years on any given policy. For presidents, you have to effectively sweep the district courts 677 to 0 if you want to be able to carry out controversial measures. Any one judge can halt the entire government. Under President Obama, Justice Kagan expressed outrage over the injunctions in public comments at Northwestern University School of Law. Kagan lashed out at the obvious forum shopping by then conservative advocates to get favorable courts, insisting, quote, "It just cannot be right that one district judge can stop a nationwide policy in its tracks and leave it stopped for the years it takes to go through the normal appellate process." I wonder if she still believes that now. In his first term, Trump faced more than 450% increase in the number of such injunctions over the number issued under President Obama's term, a rise from 12 to 64. The number then went down to just 14 under Biden. And now with Trump back in office, district courts have now outstripped their record and may surpass the total from the first term of Trump in the first year of Trump's second term. However, when the current case came up before the Supreme Court on one of the Trump injunctions, Kagan suggested that this time it was different, quote unquote, because I just lost it. It was different because Trump was clearly wrong. What do you know? In oral arguments, Kagan snapped at the Solicitor General. Every court is ruling against you. It's a curious point coming from a justice who previously acknowledged that challengers were forum shopping by going to favorable judges, as with the current cases coming out of largely blue states, including the one tonight. Kagan did not explain where the line should be drawn, leading to speculation on when something would be viewed as just sort of wrong or when is it really, really wrong. This week, the Supreme Court enjoined the Maine House of Representatives from denying State Representative Laura Libby her right to speak and vote on the floor. In an outrageous action, the Democrat majority had effectively taken Libby's constituents hostage by telling her that unless she apologized for identifying a transgender athlete in public comments, that she could not vote. The Supreme Court voted 7-2 to lift the ban, with Kagan joining the more conservative justices. And he goes on, but basically says the court has got to start to take this up, or we're going to see this judicial tyranny just get worse and worse and worse. It is madness. Emergency motions pile up every morning after executive programs are frozen overnight. The solution to chronic injunctivitis is simple. You give district judges a dose of clarity and tell them not to call you in the morning. That from Jonathan Turley tonight. All right, we'll wrap it up for a Wednesday when we get back right after this.
They collapsed.
Not with Gilgis over there. He's something else, that kid, huh? Does he miss?
Oh, you're not talking about hockey. See, that's three. They scored three straight.
Yeah, we just got done talking about that. They scored, it was, oh, gosh.
They scored, I think, 3 straight shots.
That's crazy.
I mean, they were all high-end chances.
That last tip was gorgeous.
Yeah, who was that? That's all true. That's accurate with that report that That's one of the reasons Trump was so ticked off that he went bombing everybody after the attempt on his life.
What happened?
After the assassination attempt of Putin, Putin went hog wild, murdering and killing people. And, that's another thing that's ticked off Trump. This war
Old Glory.
going haywire,
I'm sorry,
right?
Paul. Old Glory Bank just posted Vin's story from last night.
Oh, and Kevin just told him in the group text to go and check out Old Glory. He said, I heard you got debanked.
Yeah.
Did he get debanked?
He did.
Yeah, from Chase.
They chased him away.
I got debanked from Chase, too.
But Vin had his bank account with them since 1984.
But my mom...
84?
My mom got debanked because I was a co-signer in case my mom got it. She's old. They debanked my mom, too. And a lot of... There's really no reason. I barely banked there. I had one business account there, and then they debanked my mom and my brothers because they were all connected to my mother's account as well.
Think they know us?
I mean, how could they? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Starting to wonder.
What other explanation is there?
There's none.
And it wasn't like
rhetorical question.
Me, Vin, and now you. When
you
was
got
yours?
it too?
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago.
I had the company there.
Yeah, that's right.
Got booted.
Used to have
How
Chase.
long ago was that?
Huh?
How long did that happen to you? 4 years?
No.
Mine was like
Maybe
2.
a year.
Okay, mine was like 2.
Holy moly. That's sick.
And it was at the same time, like, I can't really post anything on Facebook right now, by the way. Like, if I write something, I'm like, you could, it's like it doesn't resonate. I've been blacklisted there too. Like, if I post something, it's pointless. It goes nowhere.
That's sick.
But I never stopped popping off on that throughout, like, from 2007 to COVID. And that's when my page went dark.
Old Glory Bank, they're
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. On a Wednesday night, Real America's Voice on your television, 103.9 LI News Radio on your radio. Glad you're all in wherever you're watching or listening. We appreciate you giving us a few hours of your weekday nights, 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. And, of course, you can head over to livefromstudio6b.com and follow us on our social media, pretty much at LFS6B everywhere. Let's do a little more sports. We'll try to get to everybody here before we wrap. We'll start with Slick. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Use code LFS6B if you're shopping for great stuff for Dad. Father's Day coming up in June, obviously. Great stuff for Dad over at MyPillow. Get him a new pillow. Make sure he's getting a good night's sleep, or slippers and towels and all kinds of great stuff. Use code LFS6B. I think we'll do a promo for June, Aaron, for Father's Day. Anybody that uses the code, send it in, the receipt, free T-shirt, whatever you want off our site. So we'll run that promotion starting in June again because people like that. Anything you want, pick it. If you use our code at MyPillow. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. NHL Wild One, East Conference Final Game 5 in Carolina. Carolina was up 2-0. Florida's come back to score 3 unanswered goals in the second period. They lead the series 3-2, looking to close it out as they're up 3-1 in the series. 5:37 to go in the second period. We know that's a lot of time in hockey, so we'll see if Carolina can come back as they try to stave off elimination tonight. And it looks like the Minnesota Timberwolves are about ready to put their tail between their legs and hide under the bed because they can't take the Thunder tonight. The Thunder looking to close that one out in a Game 5, up 3-1 at home, leading 65-32 in the Paycor Center at the half. So I don't know if they're going to be able to come back from that one. That looks like that series may be over, and the Thunder may be moving on to the finals, NBA Finals, which starts a week from tomorrow night, June 5th. So we'll be taking a look at that. And, of course, the Knicks are going to be playing Indiana tomorrow night in a Game 5 in the Garden. They're going to need to try and stave off elimination there. And Karl Anthony Towns is questionable, I understand. So the big cat may not be on the court. And if he's out, it's going to be an even tougher climb for the Knicks as they try to keep their season going. To the Major League Baseball we go. To the Diamond. Cardinals 6-4 over the Orioles. Bottom 8. Top 8, the Royals lead the Reds 3-1. What else is new there? Cubs 2-1 over the Rockies. End of 6. Bottom 6, no score. Blue Jays, Rangers in a pitching duel down in Texas. Yankees no score, just underway. Top first with the Angels. Nationals and Mariners mid-first, no score. I gave you the finals earlier tonight, including the Mets getting bombed by the White Sox and the Tigers getting topped by topping the Giants 4-3. Guardians beat the Dodgers 7-4. Dodgers with a rare loss today. And, Dave Portnoy needles FIFA for response to WNBA ending probe into alleged racist remarks. As this story continues to build 5 ways from Sunday, WNBA said it failed to substantiate claims of hateful comments toward the Sky. We talked about this last night. Ryan Gatos of Fox News reporting on. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy was at the Indiana Fever's first game of the WNBA season early this month against the Chicago Sky, which came under scrutiny. The WNBA launched an investigation into reports of hateful comments made toward the Sky. The AP reported that the league was specifically investigating racial remarks toward Angel Reese. Nearly 2 weeks after the incident took place, the WNBA said Tuesday that the league could not substantiate the claims made against fans in attendance at the game. Portnoy needled the Fever's response to the WNBA's conclusion. It's okay to have a spine, Indiana Fever, he wrote. The investigation was BS. Both you and the WNBA gave credibility to a very obvious troll. ESPN ran with it. Caitlin Clark had to defend her fans for no reason. You made something out of nothing. Indiana Fever fans deserve better. Pacers Sports and Entertainment CEO Mel Raines released a statement on the conclusion of the league's investigation. We appreciate the swift and thorough, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, good to see Dave Portnoy coming at, and he goes, no bleep, you bleeping morons. He wrote, maybe wait next time before creating a racial war based on angry TikToks from Chicago Sky Angel trolls who weren't even at the game. Honestly, one of the worst mismanagements of PR I've ever seen.
Well done.
Yeah. Dave Portnoy, well done. Boy, he filleted them, barbecued them, and sent them out to the butcher.
So it's kind of a clownish organization at this point, right? The WNBA.
Yeah.
Here they have their cash cow, and they continue to crap on it every chance they get.
It's unbelievable. Could they be stupid? I don't know if you saw Brittany Griner.
Kind of like the Republicans and Doge.
Did you see? Brittany Griner made a statement. I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to look it up because she's not worth my time.
Nope.
But she makes I almost cursed, a dumb statement saying, when we play Caitlin Clark, the place is so loud and so annoying. All these fans are there. There's like a buzz in the whole arena. It's not like it used to be where it was nice and quiet. You can come to an WNBA game and get your homework or business done in the stands.
They should play in a library.
Nobody wants to play like that.
It's one of the dumbest quotes in the history of mankind.
Yeah,
what do you expect from that rocket scientist?
Caitlin Clark is like a modern-day Michael Jordan. She really is, But I don't want to see you have to become a modern-day Jackie Robinson for this sport because that'd be ridiculous. But that's where it's trending right now. It's terrible.
It is. What would happen if she went to Europe to play?
Their market would go crazy.
Their market would go
and
crazy.
the WNBA would go bankrupt.
Collapse.
They go bankrupt.
I mean, they're already bankrupt. They're already dysfunctional. They glebe off the NBA, and they want to get paid more money. They're crazy.
They were flying coach before Caitlin Clark came into the league. She came into the league, and they all fly charter now. That's a much different life for them, So,
without a doubt, they have to move her games to NBA arenas.
You said it earlier.
Right.
They're going to try to kill the cash cow. How stupid is that?
It's just
That's a wrap in sports. Big
Just
D,
racism.
back to you.
All right, very good. LFS6B is the promo code. Mike Lindell and MyPillow sponsor sports. Chad Prather tonight. Radical rogue courts now run America. They hate this country, and there's basically no reason to have an executive branch anymore. The clowns are in charge. I mean, and unfortunately, that's just the way it looks. What's the point of having elections if the executive branch can't do anything?
Mm-hmm.
Unless, like Jonathan Turley said, you go 677-0 in your lower court, appointments or them voting or how they think or who they like or whatever, which of course they're not even supposed to be a part of what they do. I mean, it's really crazy. It's absolute insanity. It's so out of control, and the Supreme Court has got to step in and stop it, like he says, and put these people in their place because it's just out of control. This one tonight is really the topper. The president, I mean, they've got to step in. All right, really quickly, Delgado, any other news you want to touch on?
Well, Stephen A. Smith could be hinting at not only a political party change, but he also might be throwing his hat in the ring. He's still considering running for president.
And he's going to be as a Democrat, I'll tell you that.
Over the past few weeks, Smith has softened his stance on the Trump administration and has even received an endorsement from the president during his interview. But here he is doing something that I'm sure the Democrats don't like, and that's asking questions. Cut number 8, check this out.
It makes Trump look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles.
He's talking about Jake Tapper's
just
book.
to ensure that he didn't win the presidency? Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him? Does it not buffer his arguments about fake news, fake news, fake news? Does it not buffer the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt? Does it not in some way buffer the notion that somebody might have cheated him in 2020? I don't believe that last part.
Yeah. But Smith, the face of ESPN's First Take, becoming a strong voice in the world of politics. He's been critical of the president and his policies, but he said it's not a huge surprise considering he voted for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, he's another grifter trying to buy into the MAGA movement.
His running mate's going to be Charles Barkley.
I don't like Stephen A. either.
Look, I don't like what he's doing. I just think he's full of baloney. I think he's grinding his way for likes and clicks.
Cash, Judge Janine.
I like Cash.
I like Cash. I'm sorry. As always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters.
Stay on the
5.
No job.
Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron Frank, great job as always. Most of all, thank you, live from Studio 6B audience. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow night for more live from Studio 6B.